Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. We're back with another Tower of God full spoilers, and this time we are going from episode 25 in season 2, 26 in season 2 upwards. I'm not sure where I'm going to end this, and that's just me being honest about it. I have no idea where I'm going with this. The whole idea behind the series is to take you on full spoilers, and the spoilers can be just about anywhere, and it is something that I have to give a warning on. They are spoilers after all. So, with the coming content, please note that I may spoil some parts of the story for you. Enjoy it if you can, and if you can't, well, sorry for the tough love. So, nonetheless, I'm just going to be continuing from this point. Alright, sorry about that. That most probably did disrupt you a little bit, but nonetheless, here we go. So we can see that the chapter is called Fug. Now remember, this is where we get Bam meeting with Jin Sang Ha and Hwari Yun. So here we go. This is Yuan meeting with somebody else from the family, if I'm correct. Her boasting is really funny. So we see that she's learning the hard way about the other side of the situation. People don't really hear the full story. They just heard the rumors, and now she's this evil woman harassing, money stealing individual. Yes, Prince is a shark's a money shark or a scamster, a loan shark family member, right, from the 20th floor. So yeah, Prince does have the bad reputation. Viol is from the infamous group Fug, and he is a Slayer nominee. So killing and murder and all that stuff is part of their regular situation. So those parts are suspected under reasonable doubt. But the rest is just made up, and you can see how crazy it is for the situation. So yeah, here we go. So we see that his actions are absolutely good, but because of the bad nature, it's something that you have to understand. When a rumor is bad, you're going to suspect that the rumor is true no matter what. So she's following on the bad rumor. Okay, so we see that she still wants to pursue it, even though she knows that most of the rumors she hears are false, right? Fug has its bad apple in the form of Jin Sang Ha. Remember, he wiped out an entire branch of the Ha family. He wiped out his family, right? Now you have to understand he did that for a girl and because of what they did to him, but that is all in the past of the tower. What he did is now giving Bam a bad name, and he is Bam's teacher. So it is understandable that he will have that same sense to it. We can see that she's an absolute danger, and she's almost burning people for no reason. And there she is following Bam. And we see that the pocket can be traced when they have a mutual agreement. So Bam allowed this. Regulars karaoke. So into the karaoke bar in the middle of the day. Okay, so we see Warrior is instigating the fake VO. And there's it. And yeah. Okay, so this additional cartoon, it does put a little bit into the plot. It doesn't really make that much of a crazy big difference. It shows where everybody was in terms of why they got together. In terms of plot, it doesn't drive it. It isn't very important. It doesn't spoil too much, but it shows that they actually got together for a good reason. Ark Raptor is looking after Miseng, right? Goboseng is looking after Miseng. So there is something that you have to remember. Miseng is being looked after by two people. They want to make sure that she has all the best opportunities. She can go to school, she can learn if she wants to. Even as a regular, you still have to pick up information. She can become a better observer, learn to control her Shinsu better, all these things. So yeah, here we go back into the stuff, and that was what that other stuff was. That was the two. Then we got Wagner basically trying to up his status and everything, getting a good spot where he can live and where he can train. Right? Similar story with everybody else on that whole situation, and then there's the whole eating the free ramen on the next floor. I love that sly comment thrown in. And Balm with the rough treatment knocking her out. So yeah, okay. This goes to show where his mind is, right? He's not thinking about things in the common sense, right? Hitting a girl is bad, all that stuff. No, what he's thinking about in this current situation is what would happen if she flared up Jin Sang Ha. Jin Sang Ha is no ordinary high ranker. He is a crazy powerful high ranker with the power of two of the 10 great families. So yeah, if he does something, this is going to be a disaster. We see they're all shaking. She doesn't even care. Wagner's afraid he's gonna get killed. So we see that it's her obsession, right? Now, here's a real life thing that is playing out. You see, generalizations are generalizations because most of the time it's correct. Now, you may say that generalizations are bad, but if you're looking for a certain type of criminal, when you match up the profile and you see that 9 out of 10 in a certain area committed by certain people, it's easy to find the correct culprit. When you have statistics for generalization that are 50-50, there is no easy answer. It means it can be either of the two sides. So you host it with just those two as your suspects, and you try to iron out each one of their positions for your crime. So basically, what she is doing is trying to do preventative measures. This is always a bad idea in general, because when you take a preventative measure based on a generalization, you end up oppressing unnecessarily. And her bad objectives have come off on VO. She's been pushing for the generalization of the evil group FUG, which they do quite a bit of evil things, and they were here to kill them if they were bad for Bam. So yeah, she was right on her suspicion, but she almost made it so that they were killed. She was almost the instigator of her own suspicion. You understand? She was the perpetrator of her own situation. She would have given them the reason. So he's been talking for so long that Miseg passed out. So yeah, we see, right? This shocked him. That means it's never been seen before. In case you want to know how old Jin Sang Ha is, if the great families have been in the tower for 10,000 years, at the bare minimum, he's 8,000 years old. If the great families have been in the tower for 25,000 years, he has been here for 23,000 at the bare minimum. He's at least 2,000 years younger than the families. He is a part of the second generation of children from the direct lineage of Yuren Ha. So you should know that that's how come he's so special. That also makes him the second line of the lineage from Arye Han. Arye. Yeah, the Arye, Han, and Hon. That's how we separate by saying, but they basically have such a close name that we won't know who they are until we find out. He decided to let you live. Congrats. And there's the reality. Wagner really also was at fault for this, yeah. We met a boy on the test floor, capable of making our dreams come true. Bam the Irregular. When he reaches the top, everything in the tower will change. Now you have to understand that these are some prophecies that are spoilers all on their own. So we know that when he reaches the top, the whole tower will change. This most probably was recited by Enryu, right? Enryu is the messenger of the god outside the tower, and we know that there because of his actions and his crazy power. He didn't become a slayer because he wanted to kill Jahad. He did it because he must kill Jahad. Ooh, here comes the crazy one. So we see that they're explaining what happened to him on this floor. I'm not going to explain everything, but I suspect that they actually killed a few of his teammates. Ooh, throwing his words back at him in a very bad way. Right, let's see. Shibisu, Loziel, Hats, Rachel, Lore, Serena Lennon, she left, right? Believe that's Rock. I'm not sure about the rest of it. Ho, yeah, did. Right, so that one is off. So those are Rachel, Shibisu, and Rossi. Must be first on the list. I don't know who's Lozier. Leron 3? Maybe? I'm not sure. This is a very odd one. Mr. Juvial Grace. And this is even more scary, right? Han Sang Yu knows the full story from the time when they entered the tower. So he may even have the answers to the questions that Palm truly wants answers. Yeah, we see that it's very cruel. He's the only person with the potential. There's nobody else besides Yurik Mizuno, and that's all they can do. He was with you in his dreams. Okay, I'm actually not giving heavy spoilers here yet. Yeah, I actually went through the story quite slowly. So, this isn't a spoiler. I'll just keep going. So, the whole thing with Fug, right? In terms of heavy spoilers, here's the real crazy thing about Fug. Fug already knew Balm was coming. Fug already met Balm before he was Balm. Right? So, they knew him as somebody else, as a baby. Then his mother disappeared with him and they vanished from the tower. Then then Enryu entered the tower and he killed the administrator. No, yeah, he killed the administrator. Then Phantaminum came in and he disappeared on the he disappeared in Jahad's castle. So the Axis Phanteminum, and then finally Uric Mazzino entered and followed the Axis Phanteminum. So we know that that was what Uric came in the tower for. So those are the three irregulars who entered before Balm. And then this little kid who is absolutely adorable and cute with unbelievable power. Remember, Balm's power is unbelievable. He can shatter a ball that was meant for the 20th floor just by igniting a weapon. It's his power being channeled through the weapon. Remember what the Black March says? I can channel your power so that it's a little bit more efficient, so it doesn't just get blasted out instantly. Allow me to help you. She basically took over his Shinsu utilization to streamline it and stop it from spilling out all over the place. That's what the Black March did for him. If Balm used the Black March against White with Black March and his Spirit Bow, he most probably would have obliterated White so quickly it wouldn't have been funny. The blast would have been finer, more in tune, and when he decided to pull out the energy from White, he most probably would have pulled out all of White's souls immediately at that point, and all of his siblings would have come out, and we would have had Hakuin drop to the floor with all of his siblings and the demon pulled into Balm himself, which is a fortunate thing that we didn't get that. And yes, Karaka. Four days later, 21st floor test. Alright. Yeah, here comes some heavy spoilers. Actually, I've given some talk about Yuan. She's the only one with a somewhat huge spoiler. But yeah, Noma is a big scumbag, right? The other regulars didn't show up. We should have just passed them. Remember, it's a 2-on-2. Everybody was stationed to show up. The test is a battle between the two. If the other team doesn't show up because they're afraid of the other guy, it's an instant win. And here is the Zigna. The Zigna is the source of wealth for the Yuan family, and it's really, really heavy. This entire situation is actually helping Yuri find Balm. If Yuri had handled this herself, she would have met Balm here, right? She would have met Balm inside the Zigna where we had Uric inside there. So if Yuri had jumped inside and killed all of the rankers and killed the administrators of the test, things would have been a lot better for her. She wouldn't have needed to go back to Rapalista. It would have been all over. But because of her need to keep her name clean, she had to go about subverting it by getting Uric to do it for her. And here we go, Yuan using her power recklessly and burning the motor. Alright, so here's everybody as they're moving around. Everybody got inside. And there's the Zigna flower, right? This is where things are going to get a bit interesting, and there's Uric Mazzino. Yeah, Uric is a spoiler all to himself. I just spoiled him a little bit earlier, saying why he was so special. So here we go with everybody coming up, and here's it. Everybody's going in. Now, the Flower of Zigna is its own special little story. I'll explain a little bit more about it in a few seconds. I'm just letting this here go off. We see that they're chasing after the baby Zigna with the Yuan flower on it, right? The gem there is so precious that it makes the Yuan family totally rich. Now, a baby spawns once a year, so they can take one jewel every year from the Zigna. However, it gets a bit complicated. Okay, so yeah, I'll explain the complication as soon as we get to breaking up all of the stuff, right? So here's the parasites from the Zigna. they leave the parasites inside to make sure that the babies can't grow, right? Otherwise, they'll just send rankers in to clean it up and make sure that the babies have it easy. And here comes the big boom. Uric run. And there's it, that ends. Okay, so explaining the whole craziness about the Zigna, what his general idea about this is. So a lot of people do this, and actually I think he's referring to the diamond rush. So in the old days, yeah, in the country that I'm from, South Africa, we have a town called Kimberley. When they mined out a certain mine in Kimberley, they had so many diamonds that the rare resource became commonplace. It's actually a 1 kilometer wide hole which goes 1.4 kilometers down into the ground, and it had a very constant concentration of diamonds. It was called the Diamond Rush. And when this year happened, a company, I'm forgetting the name of the company, they realized that their whole statement, diamonds are forever, and that the way to a woman's heart is a diamond, was going to end up being a flop, because diamonds were going to be as commonplace as quartz because of how much was mined. So they decided to reserve the quantities that were being let out to allow only about a kilo or so to come out in a year, charging a ridiculous fee for it. They paid the miners at the minimum fee, and they charged a maximum fee in their locations. Some people took away some real big diamonds. According to the original law which was set, whoever mined it had the rights to it. Now, obviously, things changed later on down the line with the formation of contract law for mining. This was done to prevent the reduction of costs of materials, or the increase of cost of materials, through controlling the flow of an item. So this was to ensure that value stayed on certain items so that people couldn't just plummet its value. If you found a gold rich zone and you got 1,000,000 tons of it, you couldn't just dump it into the market and make all of the currency which held it at one rand to a kilo of gold become worth that 1 rand being worth half a kilo of gold, because the gold value became higher or the gold value became less. So that 1 rand was worth 100 kilos of gold, and 5 kilos of gold now needed for a loaf of bread, whereas in the past it was just a few 100 grams because it was that rare. So yeah, you get it, super inflation because of the devaluing of a crucial material. You need to keep changing what you base your economies on, and that was the whole thing. You needed something rare, something valuable, something that held a value to make it fair on the exchange. It's all about keeping the scales from being weighted. That was the whole idea behind the value trading system, and this is what they were doing here with the Zigna. So what they did to the Zigna babies was they waited for them to start growing, and then they would go into the body, catch the baby, and pull the flower off it. By pulling the flower off, the nutrients the baby required to pass the baby stage was now gone, and they could take the little gem for themselves and sell it in the tower at a ridiculous rate, making the Yuan family flower so expensive because it was the Zigna's life source. And they made sure they killed all the other Zignas so that there wasn't a way for it to grow in number. If they ever needed more, they could allow 2 to survive, and then they'd kill 2 babies per year. This was a rare occurrence where Bam was, because there were 2 babies at the same time within the Zigna. Sorry. So even if the rankers had caught 1, this would naturally have become an explosion on this floor, because there would have been 2 Zignas the next year, and everybody would have been shocked about it. The information on it is highly restricted, so you can't get information on it, and that's how things go. That is why they say that classification of information is a very dangerous thing, and hiding away the stuff for a public situation is an even worse situation. which is why there were so many laws put in place for people to challenge governments. Carrying of weapons is one of the ways for you to challenge governments. Governments not allowing to tax you was a way to make sure that governments couldn't have absolute control. That was revoked during World War I and World War II as a state of emergency, revoking the regular rights of people to enforce slavery for a temporary period of time to ensure survival of their nations. So yeah, that was the whole reason, because they they made it equal to slavery. They considered that you can't force a person to pay you money because it's the same as making them a slave. And that's why they were only considered to contribute that 10% towards the war effort. And once you got it all, everybody who was conscripted would fight with that 10%, and then they would go back afterwards and rebuild the country with the taxes over the next 10 years, and then the tax system was supposed to disappear. Unfortunately, it kept going till today, and that's a violation of rules, things that happen in the same way. Zigna flour, and the Zigna is basically that as well, another example. So yeah, that was the big spoiler of this section. Besides that, there isn't much. I did say that the rumors and how that builds and how that was a theme being used here, it's actually going to be used later in the story, and when that comes in, I will explain everything for that section. So catch you all in the next one, and have a good day.